Now, TINA has been rehabilitated. The phrase coined by Margaret Thatcher, "there is no alternative," or TINA for short, has been revived by David Cameron. And then as now it relates to the government's handling of the economy, and specifically, in Mr Cameron's case, to his determination to stay the course on cutting the deficit. That's not something all the Liberal Democrats around the cabinet table agree with. And so today, the Business Secretary Vince Cable argued that borrowing should be allowed to rise to fund extra capital spending. Our political correspondent Michael Crick reports.
Opposite the house in Chelsea where Margaret Thatcher once dwelt, a monument to the Keynesian economics she hated. Flats built in the 1930s under state projects designed to boost the economy. And now Vince Cable wants the Chancellor to do the same again. He tells the New Statesman the government should borrow more at current very low interest rates in order to finance more capital spending. Such a programme would inject demand into the weakest sector of our economy, construction. It would target two significant bottlenecks to growth: infrastructure and housing. But in Yorkshire today, David Cameron had quite a different message. Things are improving, he said. We're sticking to Plan A. And he reacquainted us with Margaret Thatcher's old friend, TINA. There is no alternative.
If there was another way, some easier way, I would take it. But there is no alternative. The only way we'll fix our broken economy and compete successfully in the global race is by fixing ourselves to a clear plan and sticking to it. And that is what we're doing.
So he was asked, does that mean he's involved in a fight with his business secretary?
Well, there's no need for me to have a fight with Vince Cable because he agrees with the government's plan. The article he wrote in the New Statesman was cleared and approved by the Treasury.
And Nick Clegg, in his weekly radio phone-in, seemed to side with Mr Cameron rather than his Lib Dem colleague.
The risk, of course, and I'm sure Vince, and I know Vince acknowledges this, is this, that unwittingly, of course, you then make it more difficult for everybody else because interest rates might then go up. A 1% increase in interest rates, worth remembering, would cost the average family paying off the average mortgage in this country £1,000 extra per year. So I'm afraid there is no cost-free, risk-free, magic wand solution to this. We all want more money into capital. The debate is, how do you find that money?
The peer Matthew Oakeshott, a close ally of Vince Cable, argues there's no better time to borrow it.
I'm afraid the judgment of the markets is that the present policies are now not working. It's not just the AAA rating downgrade, also sterling has been under a lot of pressure the last few months. And the markets can see that we need a more imaginative and bolder policy to get growth going. You cannot get the deficit down unless you get growth up.
This very open debate between ministers ahead of the budget involves not just public disagreement between the coalition parties, but within them too. Today we saw Cable against Clegg. In the last few days, the Defence Secretary Philip Hammond at odds with his Tory colleagues over his budget. There's a breakdown here of collective cabinet responsibility, of course. But also, it's an inevitable consequence of coalition government and arguably healthier, more mature. And certainly, it's a lot less secretive. Michael Crick, Channel 4 News, Chelsea.